Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty. It's got talk. Awesome boy, I feel like. Welcome to the Love Zone. Shout out to everybody at MediaNet Live TV. Joining me is the beautiful goddess, Lillian.
Hi, Ace. Hi, everyone.
How you doing, Empress?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing absolutely amazing. I just want to start today's show by saying you look absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a bit of trouble tonight. I mean, I don't know where to put my eyes.
In my eyes. In my eyes is always a good place to put your eyes. Eye to eye contact.
So, welcome back, everybody. Shout out to all the regular listeners at home. Welcome back to another episode of the Love Zone. And we've been on an absolute roller coaster of a ride. A couple of weeks ago, we started off with looking at sex as the seventh language of love. We dissected that into sex, into three atoms: protons, electrons, neutrons. We had sex, we had love, and then we also had intimacy. And we started to look at those as individual components. So what does sex mean to the individual? What does love mean? You know, and what does intimacy mean? And one of the things that I quickly found out, one of the common denominators speaking to different people, and you know, all your comments coming in, all the interaction we've had on the social media and in the comments below, one thing that quickly struck out is that in relationships we all use the same words, but although we use the same words, those words mean completely different thing to the individuals. So last week, Rachel, shout out to Rachel. Rachel sent in some brilliant questions. Okay, and me and my co-host, we started to dissect those questions and we never finished. We promised you that this week, yeah, we would finish Rachel's questions. But thanks to the beautiful Royal Empress, Lillian, we're actually going to finish Rachel's questions tonight with a twist. Because in the week, what was the idea you came up with, Lillian?
Well, to get some of our viewers' opinions on these questions, you know, to actually speak to people and see what they think. As you quite rightly say, a lot of people use the same words, but they mean different things. And in this exploration of these videos we will watch, people have different ideas on these subjects. So it's really good. It's been really interesting getting people's ideas and opinions, and hopefully we'll get through quite a lot today.
Brilliant. So we've got 9 video clips to get through tonight, guys, and the Arcs Ace has been phenomenal. So for all of those that have sent in clips that we don't get to play them tonight, we do apologize. Thanks to all the men and the women. We've been inundated with clips. And guys, if you want to feature on next week's Arcs Ace and you'd like to send us a video, right, you can either send videos, WhatsApp them to 07949 760 323. The telephone number will shortly follow across the bottom of the screen. But if you send the WhatsApp, and as usual, you can always send us an email if you've got any questions to info@realtalkradio.co.uk. The email address will follow across the bottom of the screen. If you've got any questions, guys, keep your emails coming in. Arcs Ace and myself and Lillian, we will endeavor to answer those questions. But tonight, we're going to fly through this because we've got 9 clips that we're going to play for you, and these are in relation to Rachel's questions. Rachel's questions. So we're going to in a minute we're going to play a little audio from Rachel, her questions. Then we're going to come back into the studio, and then we're going to play some of the video clips that you guys have sent in answering Rachel's questions. But just before we do that, I just wanted to let you guys know, next week, the question for next week's show is:
should a man pay?
Do you want to elaborate on that? Should a man pay?
Okay, so when you go out for a meal or to do something nice, should a man pay for that? If he's asked you to go out with him somewhere, should a man pay?
Yeah, because I mean, I know me and you had a little conversation about this offline.
Yes.
And I said that, you know, some men are just making a sweeping statement about some men, if they pay for dinner, they do expect a little dessert.
Yes. So yes. And should they expect anything?
Yeah.
Or should the company of the woman be enough?
There you go.
And if a woman pays, does that emasculate a man?
There you go. So you heard it here first. That's the question that we're asking for next week's show, guys. So send your video clips in. Yeah. Oh, I'm pleased. Try to make the clips no more than 60 seconds. Once again, the telephone number will shortly appear on the bottom of the screen, but that's 07949 760 323. So next week's question is,
Should a man pay?
should a man pay? And guys, if you don't feel confident to send in your video clips, send us an email as well. Drop me an email, send us your comments, so we'll try and read it out. So anyway, we've got a lot to get through tonight, so let's blast through it. We're gonna quickly hear Rachel's original audio that she sent us. 2 of the questions was answered on last week's show, and then the other 2 we're then going to come back to this year. We're going to play some of the clips from our viewers and tell you what our viewers thought of Rachel's question. So let's hear Rachel's question.
Hi Adrian, thanks for the video. It was really, really interesting. I couldn't even text you my reply. I've just had to do a voice note because it was so thought-provoking. The kind of things that came to mind were, what if you never experience self-love? Does that mean you'll never ever have anything to bring to the table emotionally, so you shouldn't get into a relationship? The other thing was, how do you express your sexual needs without fear of reprisal or hurting the other person's feelings? It was interesting the way you guys broke down every aspect of love. That was really good. I've got a whole list here. What was the other thing? The guest speaker was brilliant. I really liked her voice, and she was very clear, very articulate, very considered in a conversation as well. Intimacy. I love intimacy. Oh, that was wicked. How many people are gonna be willing to do that though? Because it is very time consuming, and you do have to be willing to get to know someone on an intimate level and what they're all about. Some people might say, it's easy just to have a quick shag and that's it. The other thing that came to mind is, what is a soulmate? And how many people actually find their soulmate, if they ever do? And I love the bit about the bond between a mother and a child. That is so unique. And I don't know if it can be replicated with a life partner. Maybe because the mother and the child are one. Anyway, great job. Really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Bye.
So those were Rachel's original questions. I think we just get straight into the first viewers, Jonathan. So I want to shout out to everybody once again that sent your clips in. Laleen, you've done an amazing job, and I know some of your friends sent in some clips. And so the first clip we're going to see is this clip's from Jonathan, and it's a direct answer to one of Rachel's questions. Yeah. So let's hear the first clip.
Are men and women emotionally equal in a relationship? I'd say no. I'd say that women are way more emotional than men, especially in relationships. Men tend to concentrate more on the physical, i.e. how the woman looks, etc., whereas women tend to concentrate on how a guy makes them feel. So I'd say women are probably 2 to 3 times more emotional in a relationship than men generally, my perception of the situation anyway. Also sexually, women are definitely more emotional because men tend to get stimulated on the visual, whereas they'd want the light on so that they can see everything, whereas a woman would prefer the light off so that it's more sensual, she can feel everything. So I'd say women way more emotional than men in a relationship.
Brilliant. I want to thank you there, Jonathan. I mean, I almost got myself into trouble right at the end of last week's show by making a comment about the way men and women govern their emotions. So I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. But thanks, Jonathan, for your comments. I really liked his input. And the question from Rachel was, are men and women emotionally equal? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually wanted to ask your thoughts on that, actually, because we've got a male perspective there. And so I actually want to know if you agree with what Jonathan has to say.
You just want to throw me under the bus?
No. Just, do you agree with what he said?
I can definitely resonate with a lot. You just threw Ace under the bus from the get-go.
I can't ever throw Ace under the bus. Ace is the great.
Jonathan said that. I tried to explain very badly last week. Yeah, men. I think what it is about men is we could be less emotional. That's the way. We could be less emotional. So because we can be less emotional, sometimes we can, use a different thought process. Allow me on that one, because I'm only gonna mess it.
This is my thought. This is my thought.
Yeah.
What Jonathan says is that women are more sensual. So what he said is that the guys want the light on so they can see what's happening.
That was the sex part. That was the next part in the conversation.
I'm starting from that part.
You threw me under the bus. So you're swerving it. So you made me answer that part, and now you dive past that part.
No. Okay. What part is it you want me to answer?
The first part. Are men and women emotionally equal? That's the question.
I think it depends on the man, because there are men who are quite sensitive, who do actually express a lot of emotion, some even more than some women. So I really do believe that it's down to the individual. I think that there are a lot of men who are not in touch with their emotions. I don't necessarily think that means that they cannot be in touch with them. It's just that they're not.
Brilliant.
Maybe the way that they've been brought up, they haven't been taught to be in touch with their emotions.
Brilliant.
But that goes both ways.
Yeah.
Because there are some women who are not in touch with their emotions too.
Yeah.
So,
or in touch, or could we say, hey, this is gonna work out all bad for me? Can we say there's some women that are maybe in touch with the wrong emotions?
Explain.
What's wrong with you? I thought you were my friend.
Explain.
No, I'm just saying we're all wired differently, isn't it?
What emotions would I be in touch with? What's wrong?
I'm just saying, not everybody is well balanced.
Okay, so are you trying to politely say that some women are unstable?
No, but what I'm saying is, I think you made a good point when you said, and it was a very good point you made when you said that some men can be really sensitive, because you got some men who do move like women straight. They're really emotional, they're feminine, and then you have got some men that are also very maybe in touch with their feelings, so to speak, and their sensitive side. So those two analogies was very good. Also, I like the point what you made when you said that when the question being asked, is a man and a woman equally balanced emotionally? As it depends on the man and the woman.
Yeah.
So I think you've highlighted some very, very key things there. I'm conscious of time.
Okay.
So we're going to pre-blast on, because I said our night video, we have to get through it. And then you all slewed me on the first one. You stay there, wait until the next video, next second clip.
My interpretation of a soulmate is someone that you feel a connection with, someone you've connected with on a mental, physical and spiritual level. You've got all different varieties of soulmates, but I'll just talk about soulmate relationships. Soulmate is someone that you feel you are meant to be with. You sort of vibe off each other. It's your best friend and your lover. It's, how can I put this? It's someone that you share similar interests with, similar dreams, similar goals, someone that you feel that you can be with forever. That would be my interpretation of a soulmate. And as far as have I met a soulmate before, I'd say yes, but without fully knowing what a soulmate was at the time, you'd probably pass you by without even realising. On hindsight's a beautiful thing, so you can always look back and say, well, that could have been my soulmate, etc. But that's my interpretation of a soulmate.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your input once again there, Jonathan. I think this is one of the most profound questions that Rachel could have asked.
Mm.
What is the definition of a soulmate?
Yes.
Now, as I said at the start of the show, when we looked at words like sex, we looked at words like love, we looked at words like intimacy, we quickly realized that all those words mean different things to different people.
Yes.
What I define as intimacy and what you define as intimacy can be completely different. Same with love, how we interpret love. Now, this is a good one. And I know I think we brushed on this last week, but I remember I spent all of last week asking my friends, female, what's a soulmate? How do you define a soulmate? And the interest was so interesting, the answers I got back.
Yes.
And I just find this is a very interesting question to ask, even at a party. What's your definition of a soulmate? Because everybody has a different understanding. And I would say often in relationships, when you're in a relationship, you might both look at each other and go, oh yeah, I'm looking for my soulmate. I'm looking for my soulmate. But you never ask each other that question. What's your definition of a soulmate?
Absolutely.
You know? So thanks for sharing your definition, Jonathan. Would you like to add to that, sweetie?
By asking you what your definition
No,
is?
but you may be defining what your definition is.
Okay, so soulmate. Some people believe that a soulmate has to be your partner. And I like the fact that Jonathan clarified that he was going to talk about it as in a relationship, because some people actually just think it can only be somebody in a relationship. I don't actually think that. I think, just like what he said, it's somebody who you connect with,
Definitely.
understands you, walks with you,
Brilliant.
is in tune with you.
Brilliant.
That's a soulmate.
Brilliant.
You know, and more. Do we find them? Yes, I think we find them, and I think there are more than one. Sorry, did you want to say that?
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Some people believe that there's only one soulmate in your entire life. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know I agree with that. How about you?
Not every subject I think is necessary for me to put my opinion in.
Okay.
But what I do find interesting about this particular subject is that when you speak to people about soulmates, that is a common thing that tends to come up, that people identify that you can have more than one soulmate.
Yeah.
And different people might be your soulmate at different times. So you might meet someone and that companionship, it lasts for a period of time and then you split, but then other people come on that journey with you. So I think that's interesting. Do you want to listen to, should we hear Jonathan's last clip?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jonathan's last clip in relation to Rachel's questions.
Would I feel comfortable telling my partner my sexual needs without fear of reprisal or hurting her feelings? On a personal note, I feel that having your sexual needs met within a relationship are very important, because as far as I'm concerned, that would be one of the main reasons you'll be in a relationship. And if your sexual needs are not being met within a relationship, you're going to stray outside of the relationship to get your sexual needs met. So I think it's very important that you both sit down, discuss likes, dislikes, do's and don'ts. And if you're with someone of a compatible nature, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem for you both to feel sexually fulfilled within a relationship.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, thank you again, Jonathan, for that. That's really appreciate you giving your input. What came up with this question, quite rightly, what Rachel was saying, there's a lot of fear in some people about expressing their sexual needs. Not necessarily because there's something wrong with them, but just they are concerned what is going to be thought about them when they express this something different then. And a fear that it might upset the other person, to make that person maybe think that what they've been doing so far has not been enough.
Yeah.
So, but quite rightly, what he's saying is that if you are comfortable with your partner, you trust each other, you get on, and you do have something you want to try, then it should be okay to actually discuss that with the partner.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm.
It's an interesting subject.
Mm.
I'm going to reserve my comments
Okay.
for later on because all of our guests have answered the same questions
Yes.
and they've given different spins on each
Yeah, slightly.
their
Yes.
own opinion
Yes.
on the subject. So
Yes.
I know the next sort of clips that's coming up. You look at the face. What the gentleman had to say on this same topic, I thought was quite interesting.
Yes.
So I'm going to save my opinion for
Okay.
the next set of clips.
Okay.
Is there anything you wanna add before we move forward?
No. I'm happy to move on.
You sure?
Yes.
Right. So guys, this week we were just tackling through Rachel's questions, and once again, we just want to thank all of the guys that have sent in your video clips. And what we're going to do is, like I said, every week now we're going to play a few clips, and we're going to just tackle some of your questions. Next week, the subject is:
Should a man pay?
should a man pay?
Yeah. And also, if a woman pays, does that emasculate the man?
And also, if a man pays,
If a woman pays,
no, if a man pays, does it
yes.
entitle him
to dessert?
to dessert? Yeah, straight. Yeah. Big man, take your hacker stand. You go push up your high chest, but you are a lobster. You know that's like you are a lobster and crab. and then what? You just want to give that little peck on the cheek. Good night.
Is there something wrong with that?
No, I'm just saying, some people find that insane. Why you never order the salad? I don't know. So that's next week. We want to hear your thoughts, right? Should a man pay? And if he does pay, does that mean he should get a bit of dessert? You know what I mean? So, yeah, and...
And if the woman pays,
yeah.
does that emasculate the man?
Yeah. 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 And and then we could throw this one in there. What's this one? If we're going 50-50, does that make it a date? It's true though, isn't it? No, big man thing. If we're going 50-50, is that a date?
Well, if he takes her out, is that not a date?
So does that mean you should pay?
This is the question.
This is the question. Right. So that's coming up next week. But for this week, we're still just going to crack through Rachel's questions. Right. So up next, one of our regular viewers, our Ken, right? Our Ken, he answered Laleen or Rachel's questions. He responded to Laleen's request, to send some videos into Arksay. So Ken's a very interesting character, and he's got a very, very, very interesting perspective. So let's say what Ken had to say.
What is a soulmate, and have you ever found your soulmate? To answer the question, you have to step back a step or two in terms of identity with soul or identity with body and mind. Because if you're wrapped up in identity as this body, you're a baby, you're born in your eyes window of the soul are shining out there, and to get from there to where you are now, everything you put into your body in ways of food got you there, and that's all external stuff. It's not you. That's just baby plus extra. So that's not you. And in terms of senses, whether it be sight or sound or touch or taste, that's all things coming in that trigger chemicals that give you an impression of the outside world. You build up a neural net to interpret it. So that's not you. That's just added in stuff. So soul is what resides. All right. So soul mate is the meetings who trigger something within the senses that you know and they know are going to help you grow to the next level. And have I ever met one? Yeah, for sure I have. And I've met several. And it doesn't have to last forever. That's the thing. It does not have to last. You can have soulmates for various stages in life to help the seasonal blossomings of your tree of soul. That's what I think.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a different way of looking at it, because what he's actually saying is we're different from our body. With what he's trying to identify what the soul actually is, and breaking it down that way. So it's an interesting point of view, because he's saying it's like we are not what has made us grow into the humans that we are. We're something else that's using this body. And so then when you're connecting to the thing that's using your body as we connect. So it's an interesting way of looking at it. But comes down to the same kind of thing, where he's ended the same point. You can have more than one. And he also said, it's help you through a season. You can have them for certain different times in your life. I don't think there is a wrong or right in it. I don't think there is, it is like this or it is like that.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, some people may only meet one soulmate for their whole life. You know, they meet somebody, they marry them, they have a perfect life with that person. They had no need for anybody else. And that was all they needed. And that's all they had. Others of us are not that fortunate.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Should we move on to the next clip? Yeah, brilliant.
Would I feel comfortable in expressing my sexual needs to a partner without fear of reprisal, and have I ever done so? Yes. But in the flow of the moment, of the feeling, of the being, of the doing, of the dancing of love, the chemistry will switch on and off around that very subject, won't it? And you'll know, or you won't know, upon the expression of the flow of that dance, to take you to deeper levels, or switch off, and then the relationship will end if you don't. So, yeah. Yeah. Have I ever not expressed, is the better question. Have I ever not expressed for fear of reprisal with sexual partners? And yeah, I have, certainly, for fear of rejection, absolutely. And that comes from a whole load of social conditioning, ancestral conditioning, genetic, it's written in, isn't it? It's wired in. And yet, the more we can risk it for the biscuit, the more our DNA, and it really is the DNA, the more our DNA can relax and allow in the flow of mutual risk it factor to elevate all that. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that's brilliant. So I want to try and remember, because there's a lot to get through in that clip. Hey, God bless you, Ken. Ken, God loves a trier. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to get through in that. But I'll just touch on a few interesting points. Because I think, you know, he dips in and out, you know what I mean? He touches it, but he gets a few bits and pieces wrong, you know what I mean? But let's go through it. One thing I like, so the question originally that Rachel posed was, how do you express your sexual desires without fear of reprisal? Now, what I liked is Ken actually turned that question on his head and actually said, actually, there's times when I haven't expressed my sexual desires through fear of reprisal. So I like that he actually looked at it from a different perspective, because I looked at it from, actually, that's true. Sometimes you cannot. It's not even how do you. Sometimes you hold back because of. Yeah. So I like that. I liked when Ken mentioned, as soon as he said risk it, I knew he was going with it. And I thought, you got it slightly wrong, Ken. Tiny temper ice. Would you risk it for a chocolate biscuit? You know what I mean? As soon as he said, will you risk it? It's risk it for a chocolate biscuit, Ken. You know what I mean? I find very interesting contrast between Ken's answer to the question and Jonathan. What is your thoughts?
Totally. I liked Ken's quite poetic when he's talking, and it's quite nice to listen to his explanation. But what he said about it's the way you've been brought up, the ancestry.
Oh, yeah,
the
good,
history.
Yeah.
All of that is so true.
Well, sorry, I forgot to touch on that, and I don't mean to tell you. He mentioned the social conditioning and then the ancestral. That made me laugh. I would like clarity on the ancestral, because I didn't quite follow, but the social conditionings I get. So carry on.
So the difference is, whereas Jonathan was just talking from his place and where he is, and what he's at.
Yeah, but what does that look like to the individual?
Say again.
Yeah, what does that look like to the individual? Sorry, go on.
So for Jonathan, he's talking from a place of him and how he feels about where he's at with that. And whereas Ken is talking about where he's at because of social conditioning, ancestry, all of those things has made up for him to feel fear of being who he is, or being or expressing what he might want to do sexually, because it would have been frowned on, possibly.
Interesting.
Through the way that he's been brought up.
Interesting.
So that's the difference in the two of them. I see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Deep. I think we've got one more clip.
Yes.
Yeah. Should we have a look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
The question is, do men and women have equal emotions? Yeah, we do, but they're opposite. So if you think in terms of in the universe, one galaxy will move through another galaxy and completely and utterly destroy and change everything as part of the cycle of life. Fact, all right? Fact. So men have extremes of emotion that have to do with what their base instinct is, which is to procreate life, to trigger life and destroy anything that gets in the way of them procreating life. That's the male instinct. Warrior sperm from me will eat warrior sperm from you, other man. Emotionally, we do that too. Hence, wars. That's it. Baseline. Women have a huge range of emotions and feelings that we'd rather not have anything to do with, but we'd love to hear about it in the throes of lovemaking. And yeah, the old adage, she who must be obeyed. She has a much greater emotional range in the everyday ups and downs of life, and she is forced to have that through her menstrual cycle, which has pain that we don't get, but she does get, and she's used to that, the pain and pleasure and the heights that she'll go to during lovemaking. Yeah, way beyond what we can feel. And so, yeah, are women and men's emotions equal? Yeah, they're equal, but they're completely opposite, and necessarily so, because it churns the ocean of beginning. That's what I think.
Thanks for your comments there, Ken. Interesting.
Hmm.
What's your thoughts?
No, it's really interesting. It's interesting with him and Jonathan. Both of them think that there's difference.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan thought that women have more.
Mm-hmm.
Ken thinks that women have more.
Mm-hmm.
And again, thank you so much, Ken, for your input. It's really interesting. The way that he's looking at it from a whole universal and how the earth moves and the world moves kind of aspect, and how women are, and that he's brought in about the women's menstrual cycle so that we have more things.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about him bringing it in? I mean,
does it play a part in the whole question of are women more emotional?
I'm thinking his point of view is that because women experience pain and different moods because of their menstrual cycle, and men don't have that, a monthly thing like that. Well, I don't know, you could educate me if you do, I don't know. There is a difference in how we are emotionally, because yes, you do have different hormones, and so you do have different moods and different emotions, therefore. Does that mean that we are unequal in a relationship emotionally? That's another question, I guess. And once again, I think it does depend on the individual. I do agree that we do have different moods, but we're going to have that different moods whether we're in a relationship or not. So whether that makes a difference to the relationship, I'm not sure. I think what interests me is to know, do men experience different moods during months or weeks? Do they have anything like what we have? Are you sensitive to us at that time? Does that make your moods and emotions different because of what we're experiencing? I think that's what interests me.
I don't think we have the same type of emotional monthly cycle that you women have. I think our emotions are more circumstantial.
Okay.
So it depends what's going on in our exterior can sometimes affect how we're feeling.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. So if we are having our emotional time then through our cycle, that's going to affect you? No,
I think men, remember, typically a man is supposed to be macho. You know, you're supposed to have that image of you. I'm macho, I'm a man, you know. So typically men, we tend not to communicate how we feel as often. You know, and even me, let's just take me and you for an example. Let's use this as a hypothetical relationship. If I was your partner and I was having a hard time, let's just say a hard time. I've come home and you look at me and say, honey, what's wrong?
Mm.
Because you could tell there's something wrong. You could tell the look at, and I look at you and I just burst into tears.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna think, what a wimp. Okay, no, but
Am I?
you might argue and say, you know, but a lot of men will naturally feel that showing that level of emotion, especially to their partner, their
Yes.
woman,
Yes.
it's a sign of weakness.
Yes.
So sometimes we can hold a lot of emotions and carry a lot of things inside us.
Is this a good thing? Because, like, you're quite correct. But you're taught big boys don't cry. Yeah. This is what you're taught. You know. You know. You don't show things like that. You don't cry. You get up and you get on. However, how much strength does it take for a man to actually show his emotion? For me, that's a lot of courage.
Most definitely.
That's strength to me, for him to show that he feels upset about something. To cry tears doesn't mean you're weak.
100%. But I think the point I'm just quickly highlighting here, because I don't want to go too off. The point I'm quickly highlighting here is we've heard from various different guests, and they put in their different opinions. You know, is women more emotional than men, and men more emotional than women? I'm highlighting just a point, just a thought-provoking point, that it could be a case. It could be that we are emotionally equal. However, women show their emotions more freely.
Yes.
And men keep theirs more hidden.
Yes.
So it's not a case that one's more balanced than the other. It's just that it's more acceptable for one sex to be emotional and show that outwardly, and that's fine. Whereas the other person has to suppress a lot of
my
them.
point is that right? Should they have to suppress it? Should we teach our boy children to suppress that?
Now we're going into a different, when we talk about what we teach our kids, it's going into a whole different thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that often I think men emotionally can go through a lot, but in silence. Men can emotionally suffer a lot in silence because it's just not something that they openly express.
And my point is, I don't think that they should go through it in silence.
I agree with you. That's why you're a counselor, right? So, by the way, guys, if you're at home, and you're jokes aside, right? But guys, if you need to speak to somebody, you know, you want to speak to someone about anything at all, you know, as we say, mental health is just the mental state of your mind, and at any given time, your mind can, your mental health can go up or down. So if you want to speak to someone, anything at all, if you're feeling down, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling suicidal, or if you just want a friend, somebody to talk to, get in touch with us. info@realtalkradio.co.uk. Actually, on our website, www.realtalkradio.co.uk, on the help services page, there's a counselling form. Fill it out, and we get a counsellor in touch with you within 24 hours. Lillian.
So, should we go to the next clip?
You want to hear from? Where have we got left? We've got. Time is upon us. We've got about 15 minutes left, right? And we've got 3 more clips to show you tonight. So once again, shout out to everybody that sent your clips in this week, your Arcs Aces. We're going to be doing some more next week. Give us your feedbacks and comments. Tell us if we sped through it too quickly and you wanted us to spend more time on the clips, or you know. But next week, once again, what are we doing next week? What's the Arcs Ace?
Should a man pay? And should he expect something for paying?
Like dessert. Yeah.
Like your dessert. Yeah.
Like dessert or coffee. Coffee.
And does it emasculate a man if a woman pays?
And one more, what was the other one? And if it's a date, right?
Oh, if they go 50-50.
If we go 50-50, is that called a date? No, because that's do you know what I mean?
But what is the other one? What are the other ones called then? If you're saying they go 50-50 a date, so what's if he pays, he's taking her out? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's a date that a man's taking her out. Yeah, and then if you go in the Dutch, it's just more like a friend thing, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
That's how some people drop it.
Oh, I see.
Do you get what I'm saying?
What you're saying?
That's how it works.
So
There's different codes.
Is it just friends? If you
Look,
go 50-50.
If we yeah.
Okay.
Is it if we go for but then there's another level where it's mad because some people will go on dates but still kind of do the half thing. You get what I'm saying? Then some would expect their man to pay. This is what we're asking you guys. You tell us. You know what I mean? So we've got 15 minutes left. We've got three more questions, three more Rachel's questions. So we finished Rachel's questions, haven't we?
Yeah.
And next week we're starting on should a man pay? See what kind of can of worms that's gonna open up. And then this will be interesting because remember we're in this. What is it? It's all everything's equality now, isn't it?
It is.
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
quite rightly so.
where do we draw the line?
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
Should there be a line drawn for equality?
Look at the tone there. Look at the tone there. I should have to step on it. Where do we draw the line? I'm just saying.
Should there be a line drawn? Should we not just be equal full stop?
We're gonna have this conversation next week, right? We're gonna have because we will have this because no, I just think sometimes political correctness can go mad, doesn't it? You don't like that, do you?
We're going to have a good discussion about this.
No,
next week.
political correctness gone mad. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
No, because even the way they've changed words now, innit?
Which one?
Words, no, like they're making everything gender. Like,
Oh, I see.
you can't have a man, woman. You can't have empress, emperor. You know what I mean? King, queen. It's all got to be gender neutral. Yeah, like I said, political madness. Anyway, we have 3 more clips. So last but not least, I want to shout out to a gentleman by the name of
Enrico.
And Enrico, he's got a very interesting answers to Rachel's questions. So let's hear from Enrico.
Hi Love Zone, my name's Enrico Delves. I'm going to answer the first question, which is what is a soulmate and have I found a soulmate? In my opinion, a soulmate is someone that understands you deep down, like kind of tell when you're not in the right space and know the right words to say. And they may not even fully believe in your stance of things, but they're able to understand and give you food for thought that help you elevate and be your better self. So that's what I call a soulmate. A lot of the times you don't find that in your relationships. I do feel like I found quite a few soulmates, and yeah, sometimes it could be in the relationships, and it serves a time, I believe, because some people are not your soulmate every day or every year. They can connect with you, but then everyone's kind of on their own journey. But that's my opinion of that one.
Absolutely interesting. I can hear people in the studio audience saying that's nice, and I've just got distracted, right? Because I was just checking some of the comments, right? Shout out to Supreme, right? And I like this one because this is an interesting point. Just kind of back going off, and then we come back on. Supreme, shout out to Supreme. He says, "What kind of relationship are you in if you're hiding feelings? This is why people have affairs." And it's a very interesting point because when we asked the question about expressing your sexual desires and fear of reprisal, that is one of the things that constantly came up through everybody I spoke to during the week, that those relationships where people can't be as expressive as they want to be end up being expressive with somebody else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that was another common thread. Like I said, I'm just putting it out there, guys. But keep your comments coming in, and also bottled up feelings leads to stress. I definitely agree with that. And I think this is a little knock at Ace there. Supreme says, young people don't date, they link. You're showing your age. Man, big man stay there. Man, look one big woman right now. You know, me don't want to look younger. You know, they look younger. They're too flaky. You know, me want a big woman. Me I look go up to them. It's got talk to the world. But yeah, shout out to Supreme. And shout out to everybody that's putting your comments in. Keep them coming in, guys. So Laleen, just over to yourself and Enrico.
Yeah, fantastic from Enrico. He there again highlighted that you don't always find that soulmate in relationships. And I like the way that he said they elevate you. They may not agree with you, but your soulmate will elevate you.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
so I really like that. He also has an opinion, he's met a few of them, you know, throughout his time. But he also says they may not stay with you all the time. They may not agree with you all the time. They may not be your soulmate all the time. So that's an interesting aspect. So it's like someone could be your soulmate for a period of time, and through a certain thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's interesting. So
Yeah.
thank you, Enrico. That was, really beautiful for you to send that in.
Brilliant, brilliant. Should
Yes.
we play Enrico's next clip?
Yeah.
Okay. So are men and women emotionally equal? I don't think we're equal. Although men can be sensitive, I get wrapped up in my own feelings. We all do, but I think in terms of expression, women are, well, from what I've kind of experienced, is women are a lot more expressive and they're able to convey their feelings for us to understand a little bit more. As for men, and I know with myself, it takes me a little while to understand exactly what I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm miserable like hell, and I don't know how to kind of say that. I still smile and be like, I don't know why I feel so sad. So in relationships as well, it's a facade as well, because if you are an emotional man, and I'll speak for myself, being an emotional man, you got to kind of take the lead, where if your lady is being emotional, you've got to be stronger not to take it in. And that, in the same breath, sometimes you just go through one ear and out the other, and that's not even no shade or anything rude against the woman, but sometimes you're not in the same space at the same time to understand where you're both coming from. So I would say we're not. I would say that we men and women are emotional, but not emotionally equal, because different times and spaces, and yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
I loved Enrico's comments. I think you're brilliant. You spot on. There's so much to pick through there. So much to pick through there. I mean, he was very honest with his feelings, and I like the fact that he said, sometimes I'm just miserable. And I'm like that as well, because Ace got talk. My emotions go up and down. But you wouldn't believe it, would you? I come across as a well-balanced character. But my emotions go up and down like a yo-yo. So, it's just interesting. You have to be with a partner that understands you and understands your temperament. Like, if, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I'm just damn miserable. Don't talk to me, at least for the first hour. But that's just how I stay, and then I'm all right. But I just don't like to talk to no one in the morning. Don't talk to me. So you're gonna ding 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 in my ear. So I think he's very. I just love his comments. There's a lot. There's a lot to pick through. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. Love you, Enrico, for that message. It's beautiful and it's very honest.
Yeah.
Saying that, sometimes women are expressing it's going in one ear out the other. It's not out of disrespect, it's just the way that it is. But also that point that his partner's feeling, the woman then is feeling emotional and he's feeling emotional, but he has to be more of the man.
There you
go. I know that's the way that we have been taught to be. I understand that. Whether I agree with it, that the man has to be the strong one, I don't know if I necessarily agree. I think we both should be able to lean on each other. So, but this thing you said about, you go up and down, your moods go up and down. This is the same thing that we're talking about. This is what I'm saying. Men are like women in that way because our moods go up and down.
Yeah.
You've just alluded to that. That's the same with you. Your moods go up and down.
Yeah.
So we are the same in that. But we express differently. And that's a key thing that he said. Women express. Maybe we're more in touch because we're taught, we're allowed to be more in touch. It's acceptable for a woman to be emotional, upset and things like that, where it's not been through the years for a man to be that way. But I don't, again, agree with that. So we can express, we can tune in to what we're feeling and why. But everybody's capable of that.
Agreed. But I think also in Enrico's video, he touched on it slightly different, but same thing I said, and same thing you're now saying again, that stereotypically the man is perceived to be the strength.
Yes.
So when his woman feels emotional and she's crying, you don't expect your man to start crying with you.
There's crying and there's crying.
No, there's
crying and there's crying. Because if I was feeling really emotional about something and I was upset and my partner shed a tear, I don't mean blubbering.
No, I mean
like you're saying.
blubbering.
Well,
blubbering.
but why would he be blubbering?
No,
I'm the one
because
that's
he's
upset.
emotional as well. No, see, did you
Okay,
see you did
no,
that?
no, no,
See, did you
no,
see
no,
that
no,
time?
no, no,
Did
no,
you?
no,
Why is he
no.
going? I'm the one that's
No, no,
upset.
no,
You
no,
just did
no,
it there.
no,
You
no,
did it
no,
there.
don't
You did it there.
misunderstand.
You did it.
Don't misunderstand. If he's blubbering
Yeah.
about something that he's upset about it, me blubbering
No,
is
no,
not gonna
you're
help.
upset.
No,
You've
no,
come
no,
to
I
him.
understand
He
that.
starts blubbering. That's the scenario.
Okay. But we're not talking like that. I'm
He's
saying
blubbering
if
more than
I'm
you.
blubbering,
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to be upset for me, but not to be blubbering because I'm the one with the issue. If
But
he's
he's
the
really
one,
in
no,
touch
but
with his.
if
He's really in touch
if
with his
he's
emotions.
the one, if
And
he's the one who is upset and he is blubbering
Yeah.
and he's coming to me for support, I'm not supposed to then be blubbering.
No, you're
I
telling.
can shed a tear. What I'm saying is we both can be a tower of strength for
You're
each
not easy.
other.
You see,
We
you.
can.
You're not easy.
We can.
You're not easy. So
I won't
let
be
me
moved on
let me
that.
just clarify. So
Yes.
you're upset.
Yes.
Going back what Enrico said, because Enrico's
Yes.
point was, if my woman's upset,
Yes.
you know, as a man,
Yes.
I'm supposed to be a bit stronger.
Yes.
Now I'm saying to you, it goes back to that stereotypical a man's supposed to be macho.
Yes.
And earlier I did highlight my thing was maybe that men and women are equally balanced, but women are allowed to be more expressive.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas man has to show that strength. So question to you, you're upset.
Yes.
You come to me, I'm your man.
Yes.
But I'm so in touch with my feelings that when you tell me your problems, I start blubbering.
I think it's fine for the man to blubber if he wants to, but what I'm saying is, if you are there in a supportive role and you're taking over the blubbering, that's going to be a problem. Either way,
supportive role.
no, yeah, you are, because
Yeah.
both of us can be the supportive role. That's
Yeah,
the point that you're
yeah.
missing here.
Uh-huh.
If you are upset, I should be supportive for you.
Uh-huh.
I can feel what you're feeling.
Yeah.
But I don't have to break down. And it's the same thing. When I'm upset, you
Yeah.
don't have to break
Yeah.
down.
No, but I'm saying,
If you want to break
can a
down,
man
you
back
can.
down?
Yes, you can. If he wants to.
Is there any time when a man's allowed to break down?
Yes.
Like, just
He's
break
allowed,
down.
yes, he can break down.
And you still look at him as that man,
Yes.
that alpha male.
Yes, I will.
And every time you tell him something, he's just barling.
No, you just now changed that. You've now just said everything I tell him something he's barling. That's a different. Different whole different. You're taking it to a different scenario.
Yeah, I'm just playing with it.
I know,
I'm playing with
I
it.
know, but we're talking about a man being strong enough
Yeah,
to show his emotion.
fair
That's
enough.
what we're talking about.
Fair enough.
Because I think it takes a lot of strength to show emotion.
So then that's a whole nother show,
That's another
right? Which
show.
is the question is how much emotion is too much emotion to
Exactly.
show? So that's
Well,
all
that's a
of
good
it.
question.
How much emotion, guys? Send us your emails. As
Video
a man,
clips.
yeah, video clips. That's another one for next week. So you got a range of questions. As a man, how much emotion? Because you're allowed to shed a tear, but don't take over the barbarian.
No. I'm saying in that point,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this: it's like anything.
Yeah,
If I'm upset about something and I've come to you to support me,
yeah,
if then I have to turn around and support you, then you haven't supported me.
yeah,
So I'm saying there's a time and a place for you to break down and have your full blubber,
yeah,
but not when I'm coming to you for support.
yeah.
Shed a tear,
Shed
but
a tear.
don't take
Just
over
shed
the
a
blubber.
tear. Okay,
Be the supportive role
like
that
that.
I've come
I
from.
like that. Well, I don't have that problem because I'm
Okay.
just an alpha male. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I see.
So I don't do blubbering. You know what I mean? The only time I cry is tears of joy. You know what I mean?
I see.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Praise the Lord. So we're running out of time, and we still got
One more
more clip from Enrico. Can we get the last clip on, please?
Okay, so my stance of relationships, you got to kind of see it as a friendship, in my opinion, and I'm trying not to get run over while I do this video. Seeing a relationship like a friendship, when you have an argument with a friend, we tend to air our feelings with the hope that the person fixes up or they express what they're feeling, so we fix up. And that's the same kind of doctrine we should implement in our relationships. However, a lot of us, like we tend to get into relationships not really judging how far we're going with it. But I have been in a space where I've spoken about my sexual needs and it's okay, but then it's thrown back in your face in an argument, you know. But again, it's just human error and us being imperfect humans, and our emotions take over us and we say a lot of things that we don't mean, or do mean, and it just hits us when we're angry. So yeah, I feel like all the answers that I'm giving are neutral, but you've got to be understanding to both sides, and that's what kind of makes a partnership and collaboration when you are dating.
Brilliant. Do you just want to comment there?
Yeah, thank you so much again, Enrico. Yeah, it's that saying to somebody what your sexual preference would be. If they throw it back into your face in an argument, that is going to make you less likely to want to do that again. I think that's totally wrong for someone to do that.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is sharing of themselves like that, I think it's a cruel thing to use something like that in an argument, because you're actually just trying to make that person feel inadequate or wrong for expressing themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
Definitely. I think the common thread, each question, it's interesting that each question has got, for me, I've just seen a common denominator. So in regards to how do you express your sexual desires without fear of reprisal? To me, I see the common denominator that's coming back from the comments is that just be yourself.
Yes.
And whoever you're with, if they don't embrace you for who you are, that's the wrong person for you.
Absolutely, 100%.
Also, I think another common denominator on that one is that if you're with somebody and you can't express yourself freely sexually, that could also lead to a breakdown in the relationship.
Yes. Because, and also, you know, there were so many audios we didn't get to play. So thank you, everybody that sent in your audios, because we really appreciate that. There was so many I got in that we wasn't able to do the audio of that today. We just hadn't had the time. But one of the audios that was there was a lady who'd actually been with somebody for 17 years, who wasn't interested in trying anything different at all sexually. Yeah. And she's actually left that relationship, even though that man was a very loving man. Now, that's interesting.
Yeah.
She said that's not the reason.
Yeah.
But she was saying it's to do with they didn't actually achieve anything together.
Yeah.
But it's quite a stayed relationship, and maybe that's why they didn't achieve anything together. You know, so I think if you do want something different, it is important, so important to be able to communicate with your partner. I want to try different things, you know, let's experiment. And both of you feel comfortable in that. Both of you feel comfortable in expressing. Yeah, that's important. Otherwise, it may lead, like you're quite rightly saying, what people have said, for them to look for that somewhere else.
Which would be a shame.
It'd be more than a shame. It could be quite dangerous too. It could be the end of relationships. It could be all kinds of other problems.
Definitely. So
doing that.
Communication is also key.
Absolutely.
From the get-go, when we started this program, everything boils down to communication. And I just want to shout out to Terry. The comments are coming in. I just want to shout out to the comments coming in. Terry said that listening is important in both parties of a relationship.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very key not only to communicate, but to listen. Because I covered this a few weeks ago, and there's a difference between communicating and being heard.
Yes.
And sometimes you can communicate a message for a very long period of time. It doesn't necessarily mean your partner heard you.
No, exactly. It's like we talked about it last week. When somebody's doing something, you say to them that is actually hurting you.
Yeah.
You're communicating that, actually expressing that feeling and everything like that. And that person's just ignoring that and saying, "Oh, you're just being silly." You're not actually hearing what that person's saying. You're not actually feeling what that person's saying. So that communication is actually just lost.
Yeah. Shout out to the last comment, text message coming in from Terry. Look, you see, yes, I believe from my eyesight, but you see,
you're able to look or see other actions or understand their perspectives and are able to act accordingly.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, guys. We've run out of time. We got through the 9 clips now. Didn't think we'd get through them. Join me next week. A Scott Talk and the goddess Yeah, MediaNet TV. Just a couple of things to update you. It's Got Talk. Shout out to the crew down at MediaNet TV. We've now taken my community show, I Feel Is Sure, which is going to usually play every Monday 6 p.m. We've taken that on the road. It's Got Talk. Last week or this week, I was down in Church Road, Northwest 10, and I interviewed the legendary Bushman. I was some boy, I feel like. So look out for that. That's going to be up on MediaNet TV shortly. Ace Got Talk on the road, our Fury show. And tomorrow, we're taking the show on the road again. I'm going to be in South London. Come over to South London tomorrow. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be linking up with a grime artist. We're going to be on the block. We're going to see what the youth them have to say. Because right now, the youth them are like, why, you know. So we're going to hit the streets. Ace Got Talk, MediaNet Live TV. We're coming over to South London. We're going to be in a block near you. I want to see what the youth them on the street have to say. Yeah, so join us 6 p.m. tomorrow, MediaNet Live TV. And then obviously, join me back next week. Ace Got Talk and the goddess, Laline, every single Sunday, 8 p.m. MediaNet Live TV, the Love Zone, and keep your clips coming in, guys. Keep your clips, keep your videos, keep your emails coming in. Any questions you want to ask, send them in info@realtalkradio.co.uk. The emails at the bottom of the screen. Until next week, have a good one. Stay blessed and salute. Yes.